jury member, it's a real thrill because I'm sort of, apart from being a documentary filmmaker, I'm a sort of narrative film lover and avid sort of cineast. And to watch the selection of 12 films, which are really cool, I mean, just the coolest films of the year. And I've been fortunate to be at the, premier sort of festivals of the year, and I must say that the selection here is all the best films, and some new ones too. The criteria here are so audacious, cutting edge. It's such a cool kind of way of considering filmmaking. It's the sort of values that I drawn towards in the best filmmaking, and so to reflect them in sort of honouring the right film is something that I feel really honoured to be a part of, and my fellow jurors are obviously sort of legends as well, so it's really cool.
I think I had an Australia trip planned for 4 years in a row, and this finally gave it the purpose I needed to make it here, because we've had so much luck with Australian cinema at Sundance Film Festival that it was always a place that we get a lot of films. This festival in particular, the competition, I mean, it's really high level. It's a really good, solid program. It's sort of the best of what the world cinema has to offer. You just kind of have to follow your instinct and do it. Now, I'm sure we'll argue a lot, which is the good part. We were talking yesterday. We're going to argue a lot, but hopefully we're going to become unanimous in our decisions. And just because being unanimous doesn't mean that it's your favorite film, but part of it is in context. It's unanimous that you 5 different people have decided that this is the film.
But for the artistic competition, nothing is ever fair. So if you were selected to join a competition in a film or in any artistic competition, you have to prepare that it is just the name of the game. But if you understand that, then you would take everything with a very passatempo mood, and then you forgive and you forget and you enjoy the moment. Something that is audacious to me might not be audacious to other people. So I think that it is not we are going to the court to find out who is more edgy than the other one. We really don't go and judge a movie to see what this movie is good or is bad, or what part is redundant or whatsoever. I think that if I go to judge a movie, I would enjoy this movie. I would like to see that which movie that I enjoy the most. Then I would vote for it, because I think art is for enjoyment.
Who cares what you eat for Christmas lunch, right? What? Well, she doesn't think that salmon is a Christmas dish.
Really?
And she just causes so many problems.
I've got nothing! Get out of here!
Suburbia is based on an incident that happened in 1990 that originally I was going to make a documentary about, and it's just a story that I'd done all the research for the documentary, spent hours and hours interviewing people and going through records and talking about it, and it's something that just always had stayed with me. So through the process of making the documentary, or doing the research for the documentary, we quickly realised that it wasn't going to get a life like that. And then I'd actually written it as a feature, and that script came across as a B-grade Hollywood film. So I thought, I'm not going to do that. And then it just kept coming back as a subject for me. And so for years and years, I thought, there's still something in here. And so ultimately what I did was I just distilled the essence of what the core story was. And actually, when we were going to make this as a short, 9 months ago, the script was actually about 30 to 40 minutes long. And being a self-funded short film, we just said, okay, number one, I can't afford it. Number two, I think the audience is going to be bored out of their brains. And so then it was another distillation process to just say, okay, what is it really about? What's the core of it? And it's this guy trying to make sense of what's happening to him. So this was an incident I was involved in. And what I was really trying to get is that sense of what were your emotions at that time. And not the really dramatic emotions, but just literally what's going through your head. Those little moments that, as a writer or as a director, you're really hoping to capture for a character. It was all about shooting minimal coverage, so keeping it simple. So not hiding behind tricky camera shots, tricky techniques, flashy editing. It was literally about following this character. I think there are two things about short films. Number one, it lets you practice. And number two, it's a calling card if you do it well. And I think the one thing, particularly with feature films, as opposed to short films, the things that they have in common are a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I know that sounds really simple, but the one skill that I think is really lacking in short and feature films around the world is good writing. And you'll see a lot of short films are writer-directors. And are they the best writers? Perhaps not, but it actually helps them round their craft in terms of telling a story, so that then they know what a beginning, a middle, and an end is. So hopefully making a short film gives you the opportunity to practice those simple storytelling skills. When I heard that Suburbia was in official selection for the Sydney Film Festival, I was sitting in an edit suite with my laptop on my lap, with 4 clients in the room discussing the intricacies of a corporate video. And I looked on my email and I was like, Sydney Film Festival, oh. And I looked over to my producer who was working with me on the corporate at the time, and I went, yes, we did it. And he's like, what? So we got in. And we excused ourselves from the meeting, and I just said, mate, we got into the Sydney Film Festival. And he was like, yes. What it means for the future of the film in getting into Sydney is the fact that you've automatically got that vindication and validation, so that for other festivals around the world, they look to this short list of 7 live action and 10 short films in total, that you're obviously doing something right, and there's obviously something in there. So you hope that gives you a bit of a red flag for other festivals around the world. You almost don't have a choice. I didn't have a choice with this film. It's a film I really had to make and wanted to make and had wanted to make for a while.